All right, all right, all right. Good to be here. Hopefully you're staying nice and cool. Man, it's hot here in Boise. It was 108 degrees yesterday. It's over 100 now. And my studio is above my garage. And even though the AC is cranking, it's still hot. So hopefully you have good AC or you're in an area that it's not so hot. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about financial independence. And I came up with that title a couple weeks ago, not realizing that 4th of July was on a Thursday. I planned on doing it like the 3rd or the 5th, but because I was traveling on the 3rd, I couldn't do it. So, and then I didn't have internet on the 5th. So here we are. This is a makeup. So happy belated 4th of July Independence Day. Ho, ho, ho. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's just an inside joke. Anyway, so independence. Obviously, we have our independence here in the United States of America, but what about financial independence? Last night, I did a live workshop, and I asked all of my attendees if they were financially independent, would they do the same thing they did today? And what I was specifically asking them was, if you were financially independent, would you stay at the same job you had? 100% of the audience said no. Every single person said no. I thought at least a couple people would say yes, but not a single person said they would continue doing what they did today if they didn't have to, if they were financially independent. And that's really sad. Breaks my heart. Speaking of hearts, I had a heart attack in November. And since November, I've been doing quite a bit. Not a lot of physical activities. I'm starting to recover now, but doing quite a bit of accounting, bookkeeping, cutting here and there. And I was able to cut over $50,000 of expenses from Fortress University's outgoing expenses I was able to cut $50,000 without cutting people. And it was really surprising how many, let me look at something real quick. I'm turning that off. Something keeps popping up. Okay, there we go. I was really surprised by how many bills I had that I just didn't know about. So one of the apps that I highly recommend that you download it on your phone, is Fetch. Fetch is one of them, but that's next one. Rocket Money. So get the app called Rocket Money. It is free, and you sync it through Plaid. So Plaid's the software that syncs your bank accounts with apps. And you can sync every credit card and every bank account to Rocket Money. And then as charges come in on your credit card or your bank account, you get notified within seconds. It also goes and it finds subscriptions and reoccurring bills that you might want to cancel, you forgot about. And maybe it's irresponsible of me to not know this, but look, I've had the company 17 years. We do millions and millions of dollars in revenue every year. I just missed it. I found one the other day. This is so embarrassing. I found a subscription that I've been paying $110 a month for since June 2017. I literally paid $110 or $120, whatever it was, for 7 years, because I found it in June of 2024. 7 years. That's a lot of money. And what it was I use Keep, also known as Infusionsoft, as my CRM. And I had decided I wanted to set up a separate CRM for my podcast. And so I activated it And then I realized there was no reason for me to have 2 subscriptions. And so I canceled it via email. Well, apparently you also have to call in, and I never did. I missed the memo. So for 7 years, I paid 110 or 120 bucks a month for a second Infusionsoft application that I never used. I logged in, I looked around, I decided it wasn't for me, and I went back to my original one, and I never canceled it properly. Of course, I can't get the money back. And I found other subscriptions, just like random stuff. You know, you need a software for one-time purchase or one-time use. You sign up for it. The next thing you know, you're on a lifetime commitment to it. So Rocket Money, I highly recommend that you get Rocket Money. Download it on your phone, sync all your bank accounts and your credit cards to it. I wouldn't even separate it for personal business. Just sync everything, because it's not an accounting thing. Don't use it for accounting. You can, but don't. As a business owner, you should be using QuickBooks or some other type of software. I like Puzzle. Puzzle's free for most people. Puzzle's absolutely free, and it's a lot easier to use than QuickBooks. If you want a referral link to Puzzle, let me know. Also runs free payroll. It syncs automatically with Mercury. There's a whole bunch of advantages of Puzzle. So get Rocket Money, because you don't want to have leakage, and that's what I call it, is leakage. Imagine if you had a bucket, 5-gallon bucket. One of my favorite shows to watch is Naked and Afraid, as well as Alone. My favorite show is Alone, but Naked and Afraid is my second favorite. But imagine if you got a 5-gallon bucket and you filled it full of water, and you're going back to your camp, and it has holes in it. And by the time you got back to your camp, your shelter, it's completely empty. All the water ran out. That's leakage. And after 17 years of being in business, I found thousands. So embarrassing. Found almost $3,000 a month of leakage. So get Rocket Money, stop the leakage, so you can start working on your financial independence. So what I did after I had my heart attack, I started looking through, like, what can I cut out to become more lean? You know, when things are going really well, money's coming in, you miss these things. And I find that most of the time when I talk to people and I ask them, what's your budget? They don't have one. What's your marketing plan? They don't have one. How much are you going to spend on this? They don't have anything. They're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. And, you know, that's what us entrepreneurs do. It's like, I'm a pilot. Imagine if I'm flying my airplane and my engine starts having problems spitting out oil. So I climb out onto the hood of the airplane and I work on the airplane as I'm flying it. And that's what most of us do as business owners, entrepreneurs, is we're flying the airplane at the same time we're working on it. Or we jumped off the cliff into entrepreneurship, and now we're building an airplane on the way down. And hopefully you have that airplane, or at least the parachute, built before you hit the ground. 90% of businesses fail. And it's like 99% of businesses fail after 10 years. So it's very rare that you even make it to 5 years. And if you do, you very, very rare you make it past 10. So I want you to last for hundreds of years. You know, there's a company in Japan right now. It's 1,500 years old. Can you imagine having a business that's 1,500 years old? So I want you to become financially independent, but it's going to be very difficult, or a lot more difficult, to become independent if you don't have a budget, if you don't know where you're spending your money, how much money's coming in. A lot of people just focus on bringing money in, but not on money going out. And this applies to your personal life as well. So in order to become financially independent, you really need to know how much is coming in, how much is going out. Truly sit down and do a budget, and it's going to take you time. The easiest way to do it, if you don't have a bookkeeper and you don't already have really good books, which most people don't, simply go get your bank account, open it up on your phone, your credit card statements, open up a spreadsheet. I like Google spreadsheets because they're online. You can access them anywhere, any computer, any phone, and just start pasting that stuff in there. And over a few months, you'll probably know where you're spending your money. Get Rocket Money so you can get those leakages plugged, if you will, the holes in your bucket plugged. So that way you become financially independent faster. So now I want to talk about, like, what do you need to do to make your business more profitable? And I've been thinking about this a lot. And yesterday I really kind of put my thoughts to paper. And I came up with 3 things. And let me just get out my phone so I can read them from my notes for you. There are 3 things that, actually I got a lot more than 3 things, but the first 3 things we're going to talk about is, this applies to your employees, this applies to your vendors, and this applies to your customers. If you want to have a successful business, it's very important that you ask yourself these 3 things, or you make sure your customer, your employees, and your vendors know those 3 things about you. Number 1, do they care about me? Your employees are asking this every day. Do you care about me? And this is something that I'm working on too. So just to be clear, I'm not saying I got this all figured out. Like I said, I put thought to paper yesterday. And technically, paper is in my phone. Do they care about me? When my employees think about me, do they think, does Rondi really care about me? Because I know they're asking that question. And I hope the answer would be yes, that they know how much I care about them. So I'm going to do a better job in the future of making sure everybody around me knows that I care about them. My girlfriend, my kids, my friends, my relatives, my employees, and my customers. I want them to know that I care about them. So that's the first question they're asking. Does he care about me? Do they care about me? Think about it in the eyes of your customer. Do your customers know that you care about them? Number 2, can I trust them? So, do your customers know that they can trust you? Do your employees know that they can trust you? So again, I'm doing this myself. I want to make sure all of my customers, all of my employees know they can trust me. And we might take it for granted, but if you think about it through the eyes of the customer, they might not know that they can trust you. So you need to make sure that they know. The next one is, can they help me? So your employees are looking at you like, can you help me? And I think the reason that employees leave is, 1, they don't trust you. They don't think you like them. And 2, they think that maybe they can't trust you. I'm just going to adjust myself here real quick, because I saw that my head is getting cut off. Well, that's not working, is it? Let me open up this little guy here. And I'm going to move myself down. There we go. I was cutting my head off. Oh, let me open it back up, because now I'm very short. How's that looking? Is that better? Okay. So, 3 questions that your employees are asking about you, your customers are asking about you. Do they care about me? Can I trust them? Can they help me? If you can get yeses on all three of those questions, they'll never leave you. You don't need to pay people millions of dollars to get them to stay. Most people are not motivated by money. In fact, it's very small amount of people are actually just motivated about money. Most people are more motivated by recognition than anything else. And so you really should sit down and think about, like, how can I recognize my employees more, my customers more, my family more, my kids more? So if you did those three things, your business is going to do a lot better. And if your business is doing better this year, if you can make it through this year, I believe that you're going to be around for a while. See, I think we have a major recession in front of us. I really do. I think the media, I think the elites, the Democrats, and when I say the elites, I mean on both sides, like all of them. I think they've been purposely holding everything together to make Joe Biden look good. And after his debate a couple weeks ago, which, most people knew what was going on, but the people that didn't know now know, and they're all turning on him. I think there's scary times ahead of us. However, I hate to say but, because but means you canceled out what you said before that. So I'm really careful with what I say. I think we're headed into a major recession. And if Trump gets elected, maybe he can pull it together. I'm afraid, though, even if he does get elected, then they'll just open up the floodgates in an attempt to make him look bad. So what I am doing, because I'm not going to say what you should do, what I am doing is I'm trying to cut every single expense that I can cut off my bottom line. Like everything. If I'm not using it, I'm trying to get rid of it in business and personal life. I'm trying to just cut as much as I possibly can cut. And I'm trying to stash as much money aside as I possibly can. Because I think with the recession coming, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people that can stay focused. See, in the world that we live in right now, there's a lot of distractions. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we got YouTube, we got mainstream media, we got Netflix, we got Amazon, we got all these talking heads, all this distraction. And I think it's the distraction that's making us live a mediocre life. And if we can eliminate the distraction and just hyper focus on what it is that you're good at, what it is that you do better than anybody else. If you can just focus on that one thing, put your blinders on and focus on that and keep your head down for the next 12 to 18 months and stack your cash, you're going to have a very big opportunity. One of the things I'm studying right now is there's a couple things. One is Section 8 rentals. And I'm learning a lot about Section 8. I'm learning how they work. I'm learning how the leases should be set up. I'm learning what type of people that you should rent to. Section 8, if you don't know what it is, it's basically government housing. I mean, it's government payout. They don't have housing. So, for example, if I went and I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Alabama, and it's 1,000 square foot, I could rent that house out for $1,200 to $1,300 to Section 8. And if the person had their Section 8 voucher, the U.S. government would deposit in my bank account on the 1st of every month, regardless of what pandemic they created, regardless of who's president, regardless of the depression or recession. And there's thousands of homes that you can buy right now, less than $100,000 in red states that qualify for Section 8 housing. And you can buy these houses for as little as $5,000 down with owner carry, which means you give the owner of the property $5,000 and you just make him or her a payment. You don't get the bank involved. And if you're getting $1,300 a month from the U.S. government that loan on that house is paid off in less than 5 years. So now you own that house free and clear after 5 years. But you're net, even paying the payment on it, you're netting about $500 a month. So you put $5,000 in, you're netting after paying your mortgage to the owner or the previous owner of the house, who's now the bank, your taxes, your insurance, your property manager, you're netting $500 a month. So in 1 year, and in 5 years, the house is completely paid off. And now you got $1,300 a month coming in for forever. So it's something I'm looking into, and I'm spending a lot of time researching that, understanding. I want to put together an investment club, and you'll find out about it. You'll be able to invest in the club, buy shares in the LLC, and participate. The second thing I'm doing is I'm really spending a lot of time understanding Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, and how it applies to LLCs and corporations. And some of the things that I've learned recently is only 4% of all IRS agents that are able to audit someone, 4% only, are able to audit a multi-member LLC or a multi-member corporation. So if you simply just add another member to your LLC or add another member to your corporation, you can almost immediately eliminate the likelihood of you ever being audited, because only 4% of the agents can even audit them. Another interesting fact for you. I heard it today. Remember these 41,000 IRS agents that Biden brought on to audit people? You know, they only brought in $1 billion total. They spent like $12 billion with these 41,000 agents. They brought in $1 billion. What a loss, right? They spend $12 billion to make $1 million. They spend $12 billion to make $1 billion. Come on, it's ridiculous. But if you simply add one or two members to your LLC or your C Corp, your S Corp, the likelihood of being audited now drops significantly, because there's not any IRS. There's only 4% of the IRS agents that even can audit you. And by doing that, you spend less money trying to defend yourself. And what else I'm learning is how you can set up these multi-member LLCs and still only have to do one tax return, one business tax return and one personal. So 2 tax returns total, and you can have 100 different LLCs. And each one of those LLCs can do a different job for your main C Corp. So for example, I was talking to my sprinkler guy. He was at my house today. It's over 100 degrees, like I said earlier, here in Idaho. And so I'm getting brown spots in my yard. So he was adjusting sprinkler heads and stuff. And what I was telling him was, like, we could set up a new company for you that manage the C Corp. His name's Alex. So we'll call that ABC or Alex Corporation. And then underneath it, we have the sprinkler division, the installation division, the maintenance division, the marketing division, and the operation. So you got 5 different LLCs. Do you know the first $42,000 you take out of an LLC could be taxed at 0 rate? So those 5 LLCs that he sets up under his one C Corp, he can pull $42,000 out of each one of those LLCs tax-free. That's $210,000 that he can pull out. And what I realized by telling him that, I overwhelmed him. I don't think he makes $210,000. I'd be surprised if he makes $100,000. And I find that sometimes I overwhelm people when I give them stuff like that. So I should have said, look, you can set up one extra LLC and pull 42 grand out of it and not pay any income tax on it. And by not paying income tax, that gets you closer to being financially independent. So I highly encourage you to go out and spend some time learning about tax codes. One of the greatest books I ever read on taxes was written by Robert Kiyosaki and let me look. I just forgot his name. Let me look it up real quick for you. Tax book. Here it is. Tom Wheelwright. Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. Okay. Tom Wheelwright. Now, what I was talking about, Tom doesn't cover that, but he covers the basics. So you got to start with something. Start with the basics. But this is a way that every penny that you save that you don't give to the IRS is a penny that moves towards your FIN number, your financial independence number. And that's something I want to challenge you to. And send me a message once you come up with that. I want to know what your FIN number is. What is your financial independent number? What is the amount of money that you need per year to never have to work again? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work. I think men as in people, humans, I think humans are created to work, to do good things, to help other people. So I'd like you to come up with your financial independence number, your FIN number. What would it be? I think you're going to be shocked that it's not millions and millions of dollars. In fact, Tony Robbins did this once where he's like, come up with your number. And instead of being like, well, I want a Ferrari and it's $500,000. Well, you can lease a Ferrari for about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So you don't need $500,000 to drive a Ferrari. You need about $24,000 a year of income to drive that Ferrari. So come up with your financial independent number. What would it take for you to not have to work and then do what you want to do? So like one of my, I know I will work until I can't physically talk anymore. I'll work until pretty much the day I die. I'm not going to be physically digging ditches by any means, nothing like that. But I'll be coaching and consulting people and helping people with taxes. I mean, I've been working on this tax game since I was 15 years old, 37 years now. I've been studying it. And why I never got into it full time, I don't know. I really don't. But that's where I'm transitioning to. Let you in on a little secret. That's where I'm transitioning. That's where I'm spending about 85% of my time right now. It's just taxes. Setting up a whole consulting and coaching program for people like you to where I can show you what I've been doing now. I messed up today. I told Alex I didn't pay any income tax last year, and that was not truthful. And I immediately corrected myself. And I got to be careful with that when I say it. I don't pay income tax. Relatively, I don't. So I ended up paying income tax for 2023. We just did my taxes. I paid $234. $234 is what I paid. And that was state. I think for the, I think federal was like $400. It was less than $1,000. So when I say that I don't pay taxes, that's not 100% accurate. That's an exaggeration. But it's less than $1,000 per year, which is about the same amount of tax someone who makes $25,000 a year would pay. So relatively, I'm paying nothing. And I want to do the same thing for you because it helps you get financially independent way, way faster. Much, much faster if you don't have to pay taxes. So, all right. So let's go over some Q&A here, if that's okay. Type in your questions if you have any. Good to see you. Long time. LA Law, I'll send you the link for Puzzle right now. Puzzle, I'll send it to everybody. Puzzle. Where's my thing? I thought I had it on this computer. Well, let me just log into Puzzle, guys. Now, I could just tell you go to puzzle.com, but if you just go to puzzle.com, you might not get the referral bonus. See, if you go to my link, I get paid a couple bucks. You get paid a couple bucks. Same thing with Mercury. If you open a bank account with Mercury and you use my link, they give you $250. In fact, Heather, I know you're on right now. Send me an email, please. If all of you, in fact, if you have an account with Mercury Bank, and you opened it based on me sending it to you, please send me an email stating that you opened Mercury Bank account because I recommended it. And then Mercury is going to give you $250. So I know, Heather, you opened an account with Mercury. You put the money in there. They gave you a credit card with no credit check. But they're not going to give you the $250 because they said it didn't go through my link, which I know it did because I sent it to you, Heather. So if you could just email me saying that you use my link to open your Mercury account, and then they'll give you $250. Hopefully that helps, guys. Let's see here. I'm looking for my referral link. You guys put in your questions. I know where it is. So you just go to puzzle.io. So it's puzzle.io. And when it asks who referred you, you just type in Rondi with Fortress. That's what it says here. So it's puzzle.io, Rondi with Fortress. And then they'll give you, I think they give you 3 months for free if you even have to pay. If you're less than $50,000 a year in revenue, if you're less than $50,000 a year in revenue, you pay nothing. If you're above $50,000, it's like $50 a month. So if you use my link, puzzle.io, and then you tell them that Rondi with Fortress sent you, they'll send you a month or 2 months for free, and then I get a month for free. Okay. All right. So I sent that out. Nick wants to know, I wonder how much is the business worth? You know, there's lots of calculators out there. In fact, one of my friends she sells businesses. She's one of Donald Trump's advisors, and she helps sell his businesses when he's ready. So I would just go to Google and type in what's my business worth, and there's lots of them out there. Depending on what type of business it is, depending on, Nick, how involved you are, if it's a fintech company or any type of technology company, you can get like a 20 multiplier, which means if your net profit, it's called EBITDA, but essentially your net profit. Let's say your EBITDA is $100,000 a year and you're in a tech company, you can get $1.2 million, 12 times. Some companies will pay you 22 times. If you are a business, a mom and pop, and it's really you and you're running it, and you just want to get out of it, you might get one time, which means if you're netting $1 million, you get $1 million. If you're netting after all taxes, insurance, interest, and you net $100,000, you're going to get $100,000. Is essentially how it works. Most businesses can't be sold because it's just a job. But if you can get your business to where it's running on its own and not without you, you can get a really good return. In fact, if I was going to go and start another business, what I would do is life insurance. That's what I would do. It's the highest paid industry out there. It's sales. It's helping people. You get a ton of money up front. You get lifetime residuals. And it's a great business. So I would do life insurance. If I was going to do a regular business outside of sales or outside of that type, I would do plumbing. I would start a plumbing company. And if it wasn't for my heart attack, I probably would be looking into that, because the average plumber right now is making $300,000 a year. 300 grand. My neighbor owns a plumbing company in Boise, Idaho, and he's grossing $30 million a year. $30 million. As a plumber in Boise, Idaho. So if I was going to go into the trades, I would start business in trades, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, etc. Because I think Mike Rose says there's 10 million open jobs in the trades right now. It's crazy. Here's what she says. Truth. Here's another thing. I'm going to bring this up right here, Heather. Pivot. If you want to stay in business, you want to make it through this recession, you got to pivot fast. The companies that are going to suffer are the Kmarts, the Targets, the people that can't pivot. They're so big, they can't turn. I want you guys to write this down. Clarity equals speed. So type that in for me, Chastity. Clarity equals speed. The first thing that you need to do is get clarity. And this is where focus comes in. If you're distracted, you can't have clarity. That's something I've been really working on at Fortress is clarity, like simplifying our process to where it's so simple, people just say yes. And we're getting clarity on what we do. And when you have clarity, you can go a lot faster. Speed, write this down for me, Chastity, or type it in. Speed equals winning. So first is clarity, then you get the speed, and then speed equals winning. You got to pivot fast when things change. What's going to keep you alive is making that change quickly. Don't think about it too long. Make the decision, move forward. If it's a wrong decision, make another decision to make it right. But clarity equals speed, speed equals winning. And by doing that, you can pivot, shift, and add value to others. Okay. All right, let's see here. Hi, as a virtual assistant, what are some of the ways I can possibly increase my income? I really enjoy helping businesses reduce their workload and stress. Well, I think you said it right there. If you really help enjoying business owners reduce workload and stress, then if you're a virtual assistant now, you're probably self-employed. You're probably working for yourself. Get another person that has the same values as you, the same vision as you, same drive as you, and make the business bigger. The more people you can help, the better it is. So Heather says, I have an LLC S Corp. Okay. So LLC S Corp. So LLCs, guys, when you first set up an LLC, which is limited liability company, it's automatically, what's the word? Disqualified. So it's an automatically disqualified LLC, and it's set up as a sole proprietorship. So when it's a single member LLC, which is what most people do, it's automatically disqualified and set up as a sole proprietorship. And then you have to fill out what's called the 1120S form to make it an S corporation. So that's what Heather has. She has an LLC taxed as an S corp. You can have it taxed as a sole proprietor. You can have it taxed as a C corp. You can have it taxed as an S corp. So she has it as an S corp. And I'm paying $2,000 to CPA to file. And now they want to make me pay personal income taxes. Yeah. So $2,000 to file an LLC tax return is outrageous. But, it's usually around $1,000 for a corporation LLC and $1,000 for personal. I paid the most I've ever paid in my life was $1,500 per LLC, and then I paid $500 for my personal. So it ended up being $2,000 total. So maybe that's what she's doing, $2,000 for both your personal and your company. That's reasonable. With LLCs, if you're a sole proprietor, it's the same as you. It's your social slave number. It's based on your social security number. When you file the S election to make the LLC taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp, it's under the EIN number. At the end of the year, those are what's called flow-throughs. So S Corps flow through to your social security number. So if you have Havenwood Studios as an LLC taxed as an S Corp, and you make $100,000 with Havenwood, then that transfers over or flows through to your personal social security number, and then you pay income tax on that money. See, LLCs S corps, they don't pay taxes. C corps pay taxes. LLCs do not pay taxes, and neither do S corps. Social Security, social slaves, they pay taxes, and C corps pay taxes. S corps do not. LLCs do not. So that's all that is, Heather. That's just flowing through to you because that's how it's set up. And not saying it's good or it's bad. That's just how it's set up. One advantage that you get as self-employed or through the S corp is the 21% off the top. I'm sorry, I think it's 20% off the top. That part of Trump's plan, where 20% of the gross. So if you brought in $100,000 gross, you automatically get 20% deduction. It's a self-employment deduction. So whether you're self-employed, sole proprietor, an LLC, single member LLC, or a single member S corp, you get this self-employment tax deduction of 20% right off the top. So, but you still got to pay personal income tax. All right, let's see. My email is rondi@fortresscreditpro.com. Rondi, that's my name, rondi@fortresscreditpro.com. Oh, I'm sorry, Chastity, put that back in. Okay. My number is, okay, so I got a number here. It's 100 grand. Man, that's not very much. 100 grand for a FIN number. I shouldn't say that, because that could be $1 million. I mean, that could be a lot of money. It depends on where you live, and so that could be a lot of money for you. Might not be very much money for other people. But now you need to work it out. Like, what do you need? Well, if you had 20 Section 8 homes paying you $500 net a month, that's $120,000 of revenue per year. There's your number. So your goal needs to be getting 20 Section 8 homes. How do you get 20 Section 8 homes? You come up with $5,000, you buy your first one, come up with another $5,000, buy your second one. And in a few years, if you don't spend all that money, your net, if you don't live on it, and you keep doing your personal assistant business, invest everything back into your Section 8, 3 years from now, you could be making 120 grand a year forever. And then when those properties get paid off, it doubles. Yeah, I don't know which company it was that was 1,500 years old, but it's pretty cool, huh? This one right here. Do I need to be a plumber? No. My neighbor that's bringing in $30 million a year, it's not a plumber. He just owns the company. I know some guys in Florida that will do $50 million a year this year in plumbing. And all three of the owners are not plumbers at all. All right. So I don't see any other questions. That looks like all of them. So type them in if you got them. Type them in if you got them. Yeah, my neighbor, he's only like 37, 38 years old. $30 million a year in revenue just in Boise. And it's Beacon Plumbing, Beacon. He bought the house that I tried to buy in April 2020. But when COVID hit, they took away my VA loan, so I couldn't do it because it got they didn't take it away, but it got delayed to where the sellers wouldn't accept my offer because there was no telling when I was going to actually close. And so he came in, paid cash for the house. So should tell you a lot when it's multi-million-dollar house and he pays cash. So big deal. Let's see here. As an LLC owner, I want to change my business name. Would you recommend keeping the age or starting a new LLC? I don't know if I'd recommend it because I don't know if it's set up properly. Here's the thing. You don't have to change the LLC name. If you set it up properly and everything's going well and you built business credit with it and you got checking account and you got your tax returns and everything's going good, just add a DBA, doing business as. Add it to your minutes, add it to the Secretary of State's website, let your bank know. And when you file that DBA, you don't need to change the LLC. So I'll give you an example. Fortress University, my company. The corporation name is actually not Fortress University. It's Fortress Inc. It's Fortress Inc. Credit Mojo, the corporate name for that is not Credit Mojo. That's the DBA. A big example of this, probably one of the biggest in the world, is Google. It's not Google Inc. It's Alphabet Inc. So Google doesn't own Google. Alphabet Inc. owns Google. And so you don't necessarily need to change the LLC or reset it up or change it, not just because you want to change the name, just create a new DBA. If it's not set up properly, then you might want to change it. And I would look into setting up as a multi-member LLC, so it eliminates the likelihood of you being audited. It also makes it to where it's very difficult to sue you. I was explaining that to Alex, my sprinkler guy today, because I was telling him, I'm like, man, your business is, you're playing Russian roulette, working on people's sprinkler system. He's like, not really. There's not a lot of liability. And he's standing on a sprinkler head that I'm having him replace that he put in a week ago that's flooding my yard. And I said, wait a minute, Alex, you have a lot of liability. If this sprinkler head would have completely flooded out and flooded my basement and created mold that I didn't know about, and then got in my walls and my floor, and I had to remodel my entire house because you put in a sprinkler head that went bad, there's a lot of liability. And he didn't realize that. See, when you have a multi-member LLC, it'd be like, imagine if Heather Havenwood, that's on here right now, did something wrong. They can't sue me just because I know her. I didn't do anything wrong. And so when you have a multi-member LLC, if one member does something wrong, they can't necessarily sue the LLC or the corporation. And if you have your bylaws set up properly, that if Heather is a member of my LLC and does something wrong, I can kick her out. And when I kick her out, you can't sue me now because she's no longer part of the LLC. Think about it this way. If McDonald's does something wrong and gets sued, they don't garnish the wages of the employees. And when you set it up properly, you don't actually own the LLC or the S Corp or the C Corp. You're just a manager, also known as an employee. So they can't come after you as an employee if the company did something wrong. And they can't come after the company if one of the employees did something wrong. And when I say that they did something wrong, I'm not talking about criminal stuff. Obviously, if you're paying fast and loose with your corporation, you're doing things illegal, then all bets are off. I'm talking about accidental things. Like I have a friend that's got 2 teenage kids. And my guy that does my marketing, for example, he's got a teenage son, just had his first car accident last week. And the car is owned by one of his LLCs. And that's a big liability. So if you have teenagers, or you're married, or even you get in a car accident, that's a big liability. Today I took my truck to Toyota because I'm trying to get a brand new one. I'm trying to get the lemon law to kick in because it's been there now 6 times. Today's number 7 on the cruise control just shutting off, the Bluetooth shutting off, steering wheel jerking, etc. And today I'm driving to the shop to get it fixed. And the thing that I'm taking it there for happened. So I get my phone and I'm taking a video of it. And, for a split second, I'm looking at my phone, videotaping my dash. instead of paying attention to what I'm doing on the highway. And what if a kid ran across the road, or someone swerved, or someone ran a red light, or maybe I ran across the road. I crossed the yellow line and killed somebody. If the way my companies are set up now, they're not going to get anything. They'll get my insurance. I cover lots of insurance, or I have lots of insurance, but they're not going to take away my kids' houses and my kids' inheritance because I did something stupid. And so you want to make sure your LLCs and corps are set up properly. So multi-member is one of the ways to do it. What other type of businesses you suggest? I like sales, anything with technology. I have a friend that just sold his company for $25 million. He started it in 2020. It's ridiculous. It's such a simple company. Such a simple company. But he got a 20 multiplier on it. He made about $1.2, $1.3 million total. They gave him $25 million. So I would just look into what you like. Like, I can tell you this. I personally would not do well with, running an old folks home and providing care for people. I love old people. I feel bad for old people. I feel bad for probably one of the most famous old elderly man. I feel bad for the most famous elderly man that's out there today that's actually probably getting his ass kicked right now by the media. You probably know who I'm talking about. I feel bad for him. It's elder abuse. He should be sitting on a beach eating ice cream every day, not doing what he's doing. So what kind of business? I don't know. Whatever's good for you. I mean, like I said, plumbing would be great. Electrical, life insurance, stuff that's simple. That's what I'm learning now is whatever I do in the future is going to be really simple. And that's why I'm going to the tax thing, is because it's going to be simple. Property management. Look, I had a property management company, 122 properties, and I hated every minute of it. So, and I didn't even deal with any of it. I owned it. I had employees. And if you want to do it, that's a miserable business. I would not want to do that one. But that's me. Maybe you like property management. So what else we got here? I like real estate. Real estate isn't going anywhere, especially Section 8, trailer parks, mobile homes. Can you have multiple DBAs? Yes, you can. So like, for example, we have Fortress University, Fortress U, Fortress Credit Pro, Fortress Credit Professionals, Fortress Credit, Divorce Your Debt, M3 Solutions. So I don't know how many that is, like 5, 6 different DBAs. So yes, you can have unlimited DBAs. Can you make yourself another name without being on the... I think you're going to add it to your minutes, not your articles. Your articles, think of your articles as a birth certificate. That's your articles of incorporation. That's your birth certificate. It doesn't get changed. The articles don't get changed. It's always the same. It's your minutes and your bylaws. So you have your bylaws first. That's what establishes everything. And then you have your minutes that edit the bylaws. And here's the other advantage of having these multi-member LLCs like this. Let's say you get sued. And they finally track you down and they sue your LLC. All you got to do is give them your articles of incorporation. And they will have to sue you again. They'll have to get another warrant, another subpoena to get your bylaws. And then they'll have to get another warrant, another subpoena to get your minutes. So it's like 3 warrants to get it, if they can get to you. So, and I'm not saying this that you should be, doing criminal activities and hiding stuff. Nothing like that. Tax evasion is illegal. You'll go to prison for tax evasion. Forbes recently did a study and they released it recently. Forbes recently released a study that said that 93% of all business owners pay more than they're legally required to pay. 93% of the businesses out there pay more income tax than they're legally required to pay. All right. You see this one? I was asking if they can use the same name for a different type of company. They used to do real estate. Now it's different. I don't think it matters. I would talk to your attorney about this, but if you used to do real estate and now you're doing plumbing, it shouldn't make any difference that I can think of, unless there's some weird law where you live. But if it was set up, it's kind of like your birth certificate. When you are born, you're not set up. It's not China that when you're born, you're assigned a job. And that's all you can ever do your entire life. I know that's not true, but that was just an example. So I don't think there's anything saying that if you already had an LLC set up, you have to now shut it down so you can do a new kind of business. I don't think that's the case at all. Unless you have like a real estate license. Or I'll give you an example in my life insurance business. I had to set that up separately from all my other businesses. It had to be a specific LLC for just the life insurance to be paid, the way the commissions work. And I don't think it was a law. I think it was a policy by the life insurance companies that would pay me, or the insurance companies would pay me life insurance premiums. So my friend had a business that scanned in. He had a business that scanned in credit cards or business cards and then put it in the CRM. Just like really basic, like really, really basic. So, all right. I think that's it for tonight, guys. It's right at almost an hour. If you got a question, ask it now. If you going to be around in an hour from now, we'll do the personal finance, which is going to be similar to this, just a little bit different. But I will see you guys when I see you. Have a good day.